Yo, what is going on, everybody? Back again with another video. This time we're going to be doing just patterns, if you want to call it, or something along the lines of that. Kind of the idea of where everybody would be going in the map. This is very important if you're in IGL or if you're in solos, even just to be, wary of where do people usually rotate to? Like, what's the most common rotate of all the POIs? First, let's start down here in Camp COD. The most common rotate is that they go up here, but if you watch my Camp COD video, they could go around like that. So remember that. Let's see if we can zoom out, find a way to. So Camp COD, most common rotate would be something like this, or they loop around. Sometimes they go towards Ozark and go upwards like that. Caddy, they go down into Lazy. They go this way to meet the Camp COD team, or they loop up to Retail. Misty, they hit Spire and then go more into Zone. Or they hit here, check Bunker, and go into Lazy. Or they can go down like this. And then rarely, in my opinion, do they ever really go left. And if they do go left, they usually go out here and then left like that. And that's if Zone pulls over here. So let's say then there is like a split over here. So this is like the Disco Misty split. These people usually they do something like this and they hit flush and then enter into Zone like that. So if a team does land flush, they almost always follow the same path. They go right along here. They hit the slurp truck and then go into Zone. If the hydro split, flush hydro split, that's a thing where they would meet up and then go into Zone like that. But let's do Slurpy. So Slurpy is that they have quite a few options. I'm just gonna keep flush as this line here. Hydro would meet up and go with them like that. So then we have Slurpy. So Slurpy has a fair amount of options just because what's around. Usually if they're going outwards and the Zone pulls over here, they're gonna go up, hit gas, and then either go into Weepin or to Spire. Or depending on if they have Zone, they might go back to flush to upgrade. And then the final option is if, the bus path was something like this and they saw no one at Logjam, they might go up to Logjam. Then Shantytown, which is back here, if someone did some type of split back here, more likely they're going to either be behind Slurpy and follow in one of these paths, or they're going to go to flush themselves. Now Weepin. So if you land Weepin, you'd always check for trail when you're dropping in. And this is trail back here, by the way. So they would either go into trail, or they would grab a card, push Boney, or they would go up here like this and just go back. Or sometimes they can meet the Slurpy team and end up fighting the Slurpy team. Let's switch over to Holly. Common Holly rotates, usually just busting ass across this field. They can also bust ass into Weepin. Or Logjam. Let's do the Castle John Wick split back here now next. Or even like rentals, like all this location back here. So usually they all meet up at John Wick if John Wick's uncon. So let's say all the same team lands something like this. This is the split here. They all meet up at John Wick to upgrade and do whatever. They hit the slurp truck first if they land on it. And usually if wherever they are along here, they usually always rotate like this way through these fields right here. And then let's say there's a split. This is probably one of my favorite splits, which is a castle like Coral Island split / Coral. These people usually, if uncon, like Shark's uncon, they would hit this island and go onto the airplane and then rotate into Zone, something like this. Or they would follow behind the Sweaty team or even follow behind the Castle team. As you can see, the map's already getting fucking crazy and we haven't even done, this portion of the map. Stealthy. So the Stealthy team, well, let's do Shark first. The Shark team would more than likely either rotate to the right to Stealthy to check for the bunker chest over here or to attack the Stealthy team, or they would hit the airplane island and then go to Zone like that along with the Castle team. So Stealthy is, I find almost always they rotate over here because this is the NPC that sells mechanical parts, and then from here they can either go to Spire or they can go into Pleasant. And then if Zone pulls all the way over here, then you can assume that they're going something like this, or even still hitting the Spire and going in Pleasant. So the Pleasant team is if they land Pleasant and if they're unconned, they can rotate up into Stealthy. Remember that. And if zone pulls over here, they can take the bridge like this and see if they can meet the craggy team, or they can push into Boney, which does happen. You know, it's pretty rare, and usually uncon good team might push into Boney. And that's really their rotate. Sometimes they would cross the field like this and kind of loop up, something like that, depending on zone. Obviously, all these paths depend on zone, so that's really important. Boney, they usually like to push into Pleasant. So if Pleasant isn't pushing, then they're going to third party this fight. But if not, you know, they do need mechanical parts, and there aren't a lot here, so they almost always go up towards the bridge to find some parts, and then from here they either go into Pleasant or they just rotate to zone, like through Risky. So maybe something like over here or to Spire. The sweaty team, I find the sweaty team always does something like this, and they always go down the road into Boney. Because, you know, if you go sweaty, you've killed people, you're already fucking vibing out, you push out into Boney. Let's do the Spire. Well, the Spire is a good spot, in my opinion, if that fucking Raz dude with the heat-seeking whatever the fuck he has was in there. Usually, Spire team, what they do is that they rotate, or they loot all this. They need mechanical parts. So they usually either go down into Dusty, which I think is right there, or they loop up and hit this bone bridge, and they try to loot this whole portion, maybe even hit gas if all this is unlooted. If not, they can push into, or if they're dropping in, they saw someone land here, they can push into Risky. Let's go talk about Risky. Well, Risky, if they want, they can loop back and go to this hill for a good position. They can push into Coliseum, or they can push Spire. Then Coliseum, Colossal Crops. Colossal Crops is a pretty iffy one. They can push into Orchard. I don't find it happens that often. Or they can rotate down and try to hit the commie split and pick up some of this spare loot over here. Or they can go this way. I mean, they have quite a few options depending on where they go. I find the most common rotate is that they loot all of this, and if they have enough gold, they hit the rift and just go to zone. Let's say Craggy. Well, most common rotate for Craggy is just following this road here. They go all the way down. If they want to fight and it's in zone, they're going to push Pleasant probably. And if zone pulls somewhere over here, they're going to follow down like this. Then let's say the Steamy team mostly always hits the Spire, and then depending on where zone is, so if it's down here, they're going to go this way, or if it's over here, or they might even just, you know, roll up on Orchard and push them. And then 3 houses, they would usually hit gas, you know, they'd hit over here, and then try to enter from somewhere behind Orchard. And then the Orchard team would either push into Colossal, or just rotate down to zone like that. 30 team almost 100% of the time goes up and hits mini junk right here just to see what's going on. And depending on where zone goes and all that stuff, if not, they're just going to go down here and go towards zone. Zone pulls deep down here, they're probably going to loop up the mountain and enter somewhere like that. Retail team, if they want to fight, they go down like this towards Lazy. If not, they can go up towards Spire and hit the Spire out. And if they really want to get crazy and it's in zone, they can push Caddy. Finally, the Lazy team. Most times, if no other team is there, third party them. Oh, my fucking dog. Izzy, get out. If no one's there to fight them and none of these teams rotate in, they can usually, what they do is that they rotate down like this, hit gas, take the river down towards Spire. And then if it's in zone, they can always, you know, push retail, find the Misty team, or go somewhere here like this. So obviously I missed a few splits, but these are like the main rotations that I cover everything. Rotations of the map. And obviously this looks like a fucking clusterfuck of shit. Because it is. But it's just important to remember, let's do pink. So if you're landing like on this half of the map, then it's important just to know what the options are. Obviously, depending on where you rotate, it will vary, but it's and where zone is. So let's say yellow is zone and zone pulls up here. So you don't need to worry about the Camp Cod team fucking looping around like this. There's good chances they aren't going to do that when zone's this far. What are they going to do? They're probably going to go up like this or down like that. Okay, and that's good to know if you're the Misty team, the Weather Station team, or if you're the team doing this split over here. You can be, okay, there might be a team behind us, or they're going to be cutting up through the middle. That's good to know if you're the Lazy, Caddy team, or any of the teams around. Let's do this scenario again, and here's the pink line. So this is the zone here, and you're the Weepin team. Okay, so who's going to come? Well, we might get the Misty team over here, so we got to be careful of that. And just by looking and knowing this, you're going to know that this spot's going to be pretty fucking crazy with people. You have the Lazy team coming, Camp Cod, Caddy, Retail, Dirty, and then the Misty team might come. And look at all those teams that are going to either enter here or loop around through Weepin. Not only that, early game, or when the zone starts closing, you might have, the Slurpy team coming up, and then there might be teams behind them. It's usually the teams that want to go to rotate to flush late. They're trying to do it behind the other teams because they don't want to fight at flush. Because what ends up happening is the storm's coming in, and you have two teams here that are trying to upgrade. And a worst case scenario is your team has an upgrade, and the team that's already there has. Now you guys are fighting with makeshifts and fucking dog shit guns while they have pumps and tacks and good guns. So this is why knowing all of these is important. Obviously, if you're going to 100% only land at Lazy or only land at Caddy or only land at fucking Craggy, then, knowing the rest isn't that important because this only really applies for like the first and the second zone. But even mainly just when the first zone is closing, just so you know, like, okay, zone pulls over here. So good chances the Dirty team is going to go up like that. And all the teams are going to, be entering the zone, kind of something like that. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy this type of video. It's a little bit more in-depth and more like conceptual based than my other ones. More just about, remembering the common rotates of all the POIs around and, using that to your advantage when deciding where you want to lead your team or even where you want to look for a fight. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. By the way, I live stream on Twitch. I'm going to aim for maybe every day, but probably every second day from 1 p.m. to like 5 p.m. my time, which is 12 to 4 EST. And then I might stream again later in the night. Not really sure. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the video. There'll be an advanced fight-in video out tomorrow called Defensive Phase-In. So that's a fun one. That's like my classic in my opinion. I didn't make it up, but it's just something I really like to do. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy and cheers.